We do have a lot of schools here, and at this point, who knows who's going to kind of rise and be the star. But as we go into these matches, do any of you have any schools or teams or players that you are keeping your eyes on? What about you, Blue?
Well, I had two dark horses coming into the event for Smash. I had St. Thomas Aquinas College. It really impressed me with the second player from that team. I mean, Derpinger came in and was just decimating everyone through qualifiers. They made it all the way through. They had some really good matchups against some really top-seeded teams coming into this event. They beat a couple of them as well. I mean, they beat versus Howard, which was Howard's only loss in the pool play of the qualifiers. So they had a good showing to me. And then the other one was New Jersey City University with Hydra. And I think Hydra is probably one of the best anchors out there right now. I mean, even the casters for Smash were telling us they're one of the go-to players. When you look at the top players at this event, Hydra's up there in that list. And I was like, okay, well, it looks like I did some homework correctly, because Hydra on the, I think it's Paulenta, was disgusting. Yeah, Paulentana, yes.
Yes, there we go.
Yeah, I'm learning. I'm getting there. Don't worry.
Could have butchered that at least 6 more times.
Yeah. When we get to the Rocket League, I won't be the fool no more.
What about you, Fawn? Any favorites?
Well, interesting enough, I've actually been keeping an eye on Full Sail throughout most of my time watching a lot of the collegiate tournaments. It's super interesting to see the character styles and play styles of a variety of these different characters, because as people know, Smash Ultimate is a huge roster, big game, right? You've got people. It's the only game you can see somebody. It's the only time you can see Ryu fight against Isabel, right? Completely different sorts of games on two different sides of the field, right? So it's interesting to be able to see, because Full Sail actually brings out a lot in terms of their character picks. We'll probably see a lot of Jokers, a lot of Palutenas today, a lot of those top tiers, which is something that's super interesting to be able to witness, because it's overall, it means they're going to put their best foot forward no matter what.
I'm going to do this the easy way. Northwood.
Yeah?
There we go.
That's it.
Why? Why? Tell the people why.
They're a powerhouse. They continue to, despite being a fairly new program, have gone and recruited top-level talent. They've only been in some of the scenes for a split, and they are the best team in that split. It's unbelievable what they do. I think they've dropped maybe 2 matches all season in CRL. They are dominant in multiple titles. Watch out for Northwood.
All right, well, let's take a look at the schedule for today. Let's get into what we are going to see. Looks like we are starting out at 12:30 sharp. Lawler, what does the schedule look like to you?
Excitement, honestly. If you want to break it down in a simplistic sense, I think the cool thing is as much as we want to power rank dark horses, strong teams, whatever it is, land environments are different. The biggest consensus I've got with a lot of the players that are here, this is their first event. This is the first time that they're playing for the money. 25K is no joke, and the ability to take a little bit of that back home. Yes, you got the travel and the experience, but you're able to see the competitor. It is face-to-face. That environment and a different setup, everything like that, it is open to anyone. I don't care if we see first seed versus 16th seed. I expect some upsets, and that's pretty much what I'm looking here. There's favorites on that list. I don't have any favorites anymore.
Vaughn, what about you? Any favorites anymore?
Honestly, no. because taking a look at that, it sort of puts everything in perspective. It's super interesting to be able to not only see all those teams, but you mentioned it way earlier, and I entirely agree as somebody that used to work in collegiate esports. This is a big moment for a lot of different people, right? A lot of these players, a lot of these students are coming here. It's their first LAN. This can be potentially life-changing. So this is a lot. So looking at that schedule, not really a favorite anymore, honestly. There's a lot of people that are going to be putting their best foot forward here.
Yeah. Blue, if someone at home is watching and they're like, why is collegiate esports such a big deal? What would you tell them? Maybe a parent or another student? What would you tell them about why collegiate esports is a big deal?
Well, when I went to college, I was an athletic person. Unfortunately, we didn't have esports programs, which I wish we did. But the first and foremost thing is you're a student athlete. So you're a student first, right? So, any parents out there, your kid is playing video games to go to college. That's why collegiate esports is so fantastic and tremendous, is because they're going to go to college. It's not like they're just trying to become a pro gamer right out of 8th grade or high school or whatever, right? So if they have the opportunity to go to a university or a community college, I think there's one community college that's competing here this weekend. As long as you are getting an education and doing something like this and having fun, that's something that your parents, I think, would agree with.
Absolutely. I want to thank Barbasol for bringing this CECC pre-show to you. Scan the QR code on your screen or go to barbasol.com/Dominion to see all the limited edition Jurassic cans and enter for a chance to win weekly Jurassic-themed prizes, including a Jurassic-sized grand prize. Right now we're going to head to a break, but we will be right back with some esports action just for you. Stay tuned.
the Collegiate Esports Commissioner's Cup. This event has brought teams from all around to compete, the first of its kind, the largest to ever happen. From the West Coast to the far side of the East Coast, from amateurs to professionals, both searching for glory and fame, and all staking claims to the $25,000 prize pool. Who is the best? The best region? The best school? The best team? That is the question. All those answers and more start now. To the Collegiate Esports Commissioner's Cup. This is exciting. We're going to get our first game underway, Jackie.
Yeah, I am ready for some Smash action. You were telling me earlier you're a Jigglypuff main.
No, that was you. That was you. Don't try to throw me in the
You're
bus
right.
like that.
I am. Love me some Kirby as well.
Yeah.
But really excited. We're going to see two awesome teams going head-to-head here.
Absolutely, and it's going to be beyond exciting. Let's finally get this action. I'm not liking the energy in here. Let's make a little noise. Let's go. We're starting Super Smash Brothers. Let's go. Pick it up. We're here at the Collegiate Esports Commissioner's Cup. Max Ketchum and Last, over to you two to bring in the Super Smash Brothers Ultimate.
All right, everybody, welcome to the CECC 2022 Super Smash Brothers Finals. My name is Max Ketchum. I'm here with Last. What's going on, bro?
It's going fantastic, dude. We've been here since early Friday morning. We got to check out the venue throughout yesterday, and it's been absolutely amazing. We've been enjoying the sights in Atlanta and getting ready to see some Smash Brothers crew battles. We've been prepping for it all day, and we're finally here.
Yeah, man, it's been a long road, especially for these teams. Of course, they played over the course of the school year, had to qualify through their regions, go through all the motions to get here.
It's been a gauntlet.
Yep, and now just the cream of the crop has made it here. So, guys, we got a lot of talented players that you might recognize from their respective regions, especially on teams like MSU, like UCF, like NJCU. There's a lot of killers in the building.
Right. There's, even if you're not somebody who watches anything outside of maybe top 16 or top 8 at a major, there's still probably a few players that you're going to recognize, like Sonics, like Jake, like Hawk and Linus. If you watched Let's Make Big Moves, there's so many good players that you just kind of go, he's in college?
Right. Hey, man, you could be in college. You are in college,
am in
right?
college.
One of the youngest casters in the game.
Yeah, I think I'm one of the only people on our talent roster here at the CECC who is currently also a college student, so I'm very happy to be able to rep that as well as just, have fun casting some Smash Bros.
Yep, it's been a long time for me. I graduated high school 11 years ago, but it's good to reconnect with my youth by doing events like this.
It's a lot of fun. This is the largest collegiate esports event, I think, in not just United States history, but also just in history in general. We're in this gigantic WNBA arena. I know you guys have been getting to see camera shots throughout the day, throughout the stream so far. It's bigger in person, I promise.
Dude, it is absolutely huge here. And the level of production, too, big shout-outs to the whole team coming together and making this happen. But, guys, when our players are ready, you're about to see some great action coming up. We have, once again, some really talented players who are ranked within their respective regions, not just at their schools, right? And, like you were talking about Hawk and Linus, they actually have a championship at a major together in doubles.
Right, that's the twin doubles team that you see sitting right there. You've got Lucy and Linus sitting down at the table, and they're going to be trying to bring this home for Michigan State University.
Yes, and of course these guys, they play an interesting roster of characters. We have a Koru who plays the DLC lineup, right? He has the Aegis and the Joker, and then Lucy on the Rob, sometimes the Ike or Cloud, sorties and all that, and then Linus, the Bowser, the heavy hitter, right? Then on the NJCU side, there is a Hydra, of course, very reputable Palutena main who kind of just comes out once in a while.
You do see Hydra a lot more often in crew battles if you pay any attention to the SCS, the Smash Crew server, which is a series of online crew battles that just go throughout the year. Hydra is very, very active in there, so definitely no stranger to the cruise format and to this kind of thing in general. So New Jersey definitely very, very fortunate to have a player that experienced in the format on their roster. And a lot of other very, very strong players, but it does seem like we are just about ready to get into our first game. And Max, I'm wondering who these two teams are going to be starting off with. I'd imagine Michigan might be starting off with the Pirate and Mithra player just because that's a solid character with a solid matchup spread. You want to send that in early. You want to make sure that you don't, get counterpicked right off the bat, because that can be a crippling blow to start off a crew battle.
It's very true. You could also start with Rob, right? A character who kind of just mops the floor with most of the cast, but does have some troublesome matchups. And of course, I'm talking about Lucy, formerly known as Hawk. But right now, obviously, this is a button check. No Steve or Bowser Jr. on either team, to the best of my recollection.
To the best of my knowledge, yeah. But obviously, sometimes your hands get a little bit cold in between games. You're going to want to play a quick button check, a quick hand warmer. Just make sure everything's working both with your controller and with your hands physically. So they are going to be getting that out of the way. We got to see the Enderman win screen just as a little extra treat before we get into our first match.
Yeah, just a little tease for you guys. Someone's going to whip out a Steve that's not Jake, and nobody will be ready for it.
I've seen a couple other Steves on a couple other rosters throughout like just this entire event. Jake is not the only Steve here, despite being probably the most well-known Steve here.
Yeah, Steve stocks are going up, guys. I mean, especially after Akola's win at Kagaribi this past week. I mean, I'm sure that character is going straight to the moon.
Yeah.
But, of course, there's also KDT, Rampage, and Zamu on the NJCU side.
Correct.
So we could see Samus or a Joker/Byleth coming out. Big MK Leo fan, as you pointed out.
It's either the Leo fan or the DLC fan, one or the other.
Right.
Potentially both, but I do honestly think that Samus is a strong starter in a crew battle just because her matchup spread is also incredibly strong, doesn't really hard lose too many matchups, and in the process, also hard matchup checks a lot of characters and a lot of players. If you don't know how to approach the Samus matchup properly, you're not going to be starting off too hot. And again, in the crew battle format, if you can have a strong start, put your opponents at an early deficit and rack up those early KOs, you're in a fantastic position. So you send in Zamu, you send in that Samus player, and they take 4 stocks, they take 5 stocks, maybe even take 6. You're basically guaranteed the crew battle unless something terrible happens.
Yeah, it's super important to start off strong in this format for those of you guys who are unfamiliar with it. Most of the Smash experience you've probably watched has been either singles or doubles, but crews, there's definitely a different meta going on, right? Certain characters like Lucario and Sephiroth who have built-in comeback mechanics, they get stronger just by default.
Yeah, it's always weird in crew battles because it seems like, say you start off with a Lucario player, they're getting stronger the more you hurt them, just because of that aura mechanic at a stock deficit. So say you start off the game, they've only got 1 stock remaining, but all of a sudden you're dying at 40%, and that's not very good.
No, absolutely not. And then, you know, if they win that first encounter, they're going to come out with, you know, a lot of more. Oh my God. I bet Rampage is wishing he picked Lucario after a first stock like that. Lucy, formerly known as Hawk, starting things off very strongly for MSU. This team, I'm going to say it right now, Last, one of my favorites to win the whole thing.
We were definitely discussing this team alongside like 3 or 4 others as like, oh, these are the ones to watch out for, and that's the reason you need to watch out for this team, because they're already off the bat, only 19% dealt and 2 stocks gone. Lucy is the one going on a rampage despite their opponent's name.
Yeah, and production unable to keep up with the stock count at the start of this, right? Like the first stock was gone in 10 seconds or less. I mean, give these guys a break.
Now going to be maybe getting a second to catch their breath. Rampage is starting to try and do a couple more Joker things, but suddenly you're on the ledge again, and every stock so far has been taken in this exact position, so be very careful. Finally manages to escape with the grab down throw back air, and with Arsene active, this is an opportunity to stem the bleeding a little bit.
Yeah, Rampage, we need to see 1 stock just to make your presence on the screen felt here. But I don't know, Lucy not giving it up that easily. We see the bear, pushing Rob all the way past the platform for a landing, just safe in the center of the screen. Oh, okay, crosses him up for that shield grab attempt. But it looks like it's just too little too late. 1 platform tech chase could end it all.
Down tilt's coming through, puts him at the ledge, tries to call out the jump there with the raw bear, but Rampage at least staying calmer than before, able to survive through that. Now looking for the dash attack on the ground to try and get themselves a little bit of control over the stage, but Rob is one of the most difficult characters in the entire game to wrest stage control away from, especially with that gyro being out into play. It's so difficult to take neutral away.
All right. Oh, no, and it's all over. Gets caught on the startup frames of his initial dash right there. Lucy gonna take that with 3 stocks remaining. NJCU bleeding out kind of heavily early on into things. But, of course, they do have 2 strong players remaining. They have Zamu and Hydra. Not sure what order those players will come out in. But either way, Lucy just chilling right there. And you can see Linus and Okoru. They're like, all right, it looks like we still have a second to catch our breaths here, you know?
Linus is like, oh, I can just chill. I don't even need to think about coming in yet. It's definitely going to be interesting, though, to see which player New Jersey sends out next, because normally in your head you think you save your best player for last.
I just caught in the replay that Rampage actually tried to stick out Rebel's guard before that Rob side B, the rotor arm connected. Oh my god, that's brutal. I think that move has 3 or 4 frames of startup.
Right, so in this Barbasol replay, we are seeing right now that like Rebel's guard usually is a very, very fantastic tool to escape disadvantage. 4 frame startup, and it is completely invincible, but not against Rob.
Right.
Not against Rob.
Not fast enough to get there. You can see Joker doing his little pose, but unfortunately, that stock just got evaporated, and so did the other two. So great start for MSU here. Let's see how New Jersey responds. And
just in my head, you usually you want to hold on to your best player for last. That's, we call it anchoring. Not an original concept, obviously, but in this scenario, you're at such a disadvantage. You almost want to send in that strong player to try and make up some of that distance to maybe give yourself a fighting chance, or you can still continue to save them for last, try and make sure that there's the least amount of work possible for them to have to do. There's a lot of differing theories in terms of how to properly strategize within a crew battle, and we'll just have to see which one New Jersey opts for. You see the coach chilling out behind them, trying to formulate a strategy here.
Yeah, and it seems like Hydra is still going to be sitting on the bench, at least for one more match. And I believe this is Zamu that we're sending up right now, so it's going to be Samus versus Rob. And I think Samus does really well against the big body characters, right? You know, she can win a firefight against most characters from long range. Rob, obviously having a laser, can go through a lot of her stuff. You know, it doesn't have to interact due to the transcendent priority it has. But still, I think once Samus gets a grab or some kind of opener against Rob, it could just be combo city.
Right, so despite the fact that Samus is a zoner, part of that archetype within the game, Samus does have the ability to box with some of the best of them. Her tools in neutral aren't necessarily the best. It is difficult for her to win those initial fights, especially against a character as strong as Rob, because if Rob is just, you know, naring in place, what is Samus really going to do other than shoot projectiles? But once Samus does get that in, once Samus does win neutral, you can go for a ride. It's not going to be a fun time, especially, like you said, for a bigger body character like Rob. So it does look
I
like
see a Palutena.
That is Hydra sitting down at the setup there. It's not Hydra. I don't know which one of them is, like, which one of the computers is the active one.
Yeah, pretty sure Hydra is just waiting, and we might just have 2 Palutenas on
Two
the roster.
Palus. Nope, that is Samus. Okay, we were teased.
Wow, okay, yeah, from far away, you know, and being nearly 30 years old, that looked like Palutena.
We can't really tell which one of the setups is the one that's like currently active, which one of the ones is like currently being played. So we thought it might have been Hydra taking over instead, but nope, Zamu is coming out, so we are going to see that Samus versus Rob does try for that initial ledge trap, but Lucy is able to get up and over around it, now has regained control of the center.
All right, we're seeing the ledge traps with the gyro. Wow, maybe banking on just a raw ledge jump there from Zamu and looking for the spike. Lucy not letting up at all, still channeling some of that momentum from the first match.
Throwing the Nair in, trying to catch the neutral get up off the ledge, but Zamu quickly circumvents that. Waiting in neutral for either one of them to try and commit, but Zamu seems to be favoring that non-committal playstyle here, does not want to be caught in the blender like their teammate was in the last match, so very, very smart given what we've already seen.
All right, we're seeing a little bit of a rushdown attempt here from Zamu. I like throwing out the Zair. That move actually is super good for challenging Rob's aerials. None of them will outrange that grapple beam. That is pretty much her best answer to the Nair. Ooh, okay, rolling pass, getting the up B. Zamu starting to come alive here. Back hit of Nair. Oh, no, not able to stuff out the jump from ledge. Trading fares, but of course, Rob's being one single hit. Samus is being a bunch of light ones into a finisher. It's going to go well for Rob.
Oh, this is a bad spot to be put in. Doesn't have a jump anymore, and yeah, there's just no way you can get back to stage past that without the resources that you usually have at your disposal. This is something that I'm finding very curious, because usually in these matchups, it's Samus that's the one ledge trapping for an eternity, but here, we're seeing it turned around. Zamu does finally, though, manage to put the Rob onto the ledge and take the first stock from Lucy in this entire crew battle, so brings that count down to 8.
Just like you said last, it was that ledge trap game. Something Samus really excels at. The bombs into the charge shot was what finished off Lucy there. Okay, Zamu's starting to come alive, though. We see a down throw into forward air. What's the juggle going to be here? No, okay, not getting too clean of a breakaway, but still some respectable damage here.
But that's one of the things that's been keeping Lucy so strong throughout both this game and the previous one, is that their disadvantage state has been practically non-existent. They're out of the combo before it's even begun, or they're taking the minimum number of hits possible before they escape. Even there, avoiding the up B out of shield from Zamu by using the down tilt to clank with it and continue to hold that center stage position.
Yeah, Rob and Samus, two zoners blessed with amazing boxing tools. You see that frame 3 down tilt from Rob, just able to be very aggressive with it, and the chase down to the corner. Oh, going for the spike a little bit early, and the back air as well, but still looking pretty good here. Yeah, Lucy fakes out the grab and takes another stock. That's 5 down at the hands of one player.
That dash back turnaround back air from Rob has been one of his strongest tools in the recent meta, because Bear is so slow but so active that it's so great at baiting out moves. So 4 stocks remaining on the NJCU side. They need to take out Lucy, at least one more stock from Lucy to give Hydra a fighting chance here.
Oh man, okay, manages to grab the gyro with that tech. Using it as a ledge trapping tool. Okay, smart by Lucy, knowing the power of his own tools, just waits out the gyro, but still dies to the neutral air there. We got Zamu evening the stock count, but still down quite a bit in damage.
And an interesting attempt there by Lucy to use one of the lesser-known properties of Rob's side B. Most of the time, we just see it as the spinny arms that take you off the side blast zone, but it also does have a reflector property. So was trying to bait out the initial charge shot and then turn it right back in his face, but Zamu still able to reset that situation and now starting to build up a little bit more damage.
I like that fade to the ground, the neutral air dodge there. Oh man, Zamu starting to come alive yet again. Let's see, can he keep this edge guard going? I love that, intercepting the ledge jump with up B.
And now, every option was covered there too with the up tilt. If Lucy had tried to go above the ledge, they would have been sent even deeper off stage thanks to the strong hit up tilt. They just landed on ledge, they were hit anyway. So fantastic option coverage by Zamu, and as a result, we're only 13% apart now, less than that.
All right, 112 to 120. Lucy, are you gonna take out 2 players, or is Zamu gonna clutch up and at least bring out the next member of this roster?
Continuing to threaten with that charge shot at the ledge. It will KO now, but there's the down throw into the up air, and yup, even despite Samus's weight, it's not going to be enough to survive through this. So Lucy takes their second player's life throughout this crew battle, and NJCU is going to be down to their final one, as we see here on the Barbasol replay.
And big props to Zamu, though, being able to tangle with one of the Michigan PR players, right? Taking him so close. And that could have gone a lot different had you just seen one ledge trap, one juggle situation played a little bit differently. But yeah, here we go, the Barbasol replay. We're gonna see that double jump snipe and then straight up fully charged laser. Yeah, takes Samus out near 200%. And that's why Zamu was able to take that so close, right? Getting insane value out of each stock he had.
This was so good too. This is where Samus makes all of her money in any situation, in any matchup, is at the ledge. You are able to trap your opponent on the ledge. You're able to catch one of those get-up options with either a mine, a charge shot, even a Zair sometimes if you could follow it up with something like a back air. All of those things, they're so strong, but Rob was able to just was able to just hold it out at the end, gets that up air, takes it out, and Lucy continues.
Yeah, Lucy sensing the fear at the ledge there too, right? You never want to overcommit to getting out of the corner like a roll or a dash attack, you know, kind of those tempting options that'll just burst you forward towards center stage. And Zamu technically made a smart play by just holding shield there, waiting for Lucy to commit to something, but he didn't. He just went up for the grab, down throw, up air, one of Rob's cleanest win conditions out there. But now we have Hydra, the anchor, the most notable player on this team, coming up to hopefully close this one out. Of course, the road ahead of him is very long, 7 stocks to 3.
It's fraught with danger, right. It's not going to be an easy road, but at least should be doable. In the worst case scenario for Michigan, Hydra can do this. It's not done and dusted, right? We still have a crew battle to finish up. The eventuality that I can see coming through here is Rob Palu. Not fun for Rob. Rob is a big body. Palu is a strong combo-heavy character, so if Lucy's not careful, could get caught on the Nair plane, taken all the way to the blast zone early on, and Hydra could go into that second player with still a fresh 3 stocks. And I think that is the win condition here for NJCU. Hydra holding on and just like using those stocks like gold.
Yep, and then he's got to at least hold on to 2 in the next match if he manages to make it to the next player. 1 stock per player is essentially their winning philosophy here. Yep. Well, hey, Hydra, extremely talented, one of the best players in North Jersey. For the last couple months, you know, he's really hit that come up during the online era of things. You know, started to appear, I believe, just before the quarantine era, right? So we'll see what Hydra's able to bring to the table here. Yeah, this stage, bad things happen here, man.
Bad things happen to everybody is the operative thing, though. Either Rob or Palu could find themselves losing stocks ridiculously early thanks to this stage's shortened blast zones.
And look at that.
Look at
Going
this,
to
here we
work
go.
on the big body of Rob already. Okay, Hydra, the nice start here, attacking on 60%. But you got to finish your plate because Rob is one of those characters who can ignore matchup spreads. He's like, hey, yeah, you have all the tools to be good against me, but guess what? I have the tools to kill you at 0%.
Right. Rob is one of those characters where he's losing the entire match, losing the entire stock, but he gets that one hit, that one neutral win, and you just get opened up for your entire life.
Right. In the words of one of my good friends, why would you outplay someone for the whole match when you can outplay
just
them for
outplay
one
them
interaction?
once.
Yeah. And Rob really does embody that. Oh, Hydra looking for all kinds of options to punish the ledge grab there, not hitting a 2-frame, not hitting a straight hit or anything. And now things are starting to look scary. Every grab, every neutral air, every Z drop could be death here.
Quick mash from Hydra is going to be able to allow him to escape from that berry quickly, though. So no big damage yet, but at one, no, not going to die. I'm amazed that Hydra's DI is that good that you're able to survive that high percent on Yoshi's, and as a result, Hydra is able to trap Rob with the explosive flame. So this is how it starts. This is how it begins. Hydra has taken that final stock rather from Lucy while still holding on to 3 of his own. It's 3-6, fresh.
Right, and here's the big question. Who comes in next for MSU, right? Because Linus, he's known for playing big body characters, particularly Bowser. I believe he also has Rosalina at his disposal. And I don't think either of those are great picks into Palutena. But then there's Okoru with Aegis and Joker, who I think are good picks against Palutena, but far from perfect.
Right. There's no player here that just has that hard counter pick against Palutena, because there really isn't a hard counter pick for Palutena, one of the most prolific characters in the modern meta. So you got to find something else. You can't just rely on matchup checking your opponent here in this situation. I would almost expect to see the Pirate and Mithra or the Joker come through, just because it's less risky, given that those are both very, very good characters. But they could just opt to hold onto that as their anchor.
Exactly, yeah, there's ups and downs to picking either player here, right? If you pick Linus, you can maybe soften Hydra up, take 1 or 2 stocks, and, well, it looks like that's what they're going to do.
It looks like that's exactly what they're going to be doing.
Yeah, and then you have the anchor Okoru come in with a more favorable matchup and just finish the job. That said, they could have done the opposite, right? And maybe even just beaten Hydra straight up in the 3-stock to 3 contest between himself and Okoru.
This is just a normal best of 1 at this point.
Yeah. It really is.
Honestly, that's what I find so interesting about crew battles, is that you and I are sitting here, we're talking about all of these differing strategies, all of these different options that these teams could bring to bear, and none of them are wrong. None of them are the incorrect choice. None of them are, oh, there's no way that'll work. All of them are viable. All of them are possible. We just have to see which one these guys end up choosing, and we're going to find out what the answer is as we see Linus coming in here with the Min-Min, actually, instead of those big body characters that we discussed.
Yep, forgot about that. Recent addition to his character roster. Linus, a character who's changed hats many times throughout the years, and certainly no exception in the year 2022, bringing Min-Min, a character who really we speculated to be borderline broken when everything was online for a while, right?
Did suffer a couple of nerfs after the end of the online era. A couple of the top representatives of the character no longer are top representatives of the character, but the tried and trues are still there, namely like Proto Banham over in Japan, or our good friend Pink Fresh up in MDVA. They're still repping strong with the Min-Min.
Hey, the Busby Min-Min is still out there too.
It is.
Yeah, can't forget about that one. But Linus not to be slept on at all. Again, power ranked in Michigan. Very strong player, just like his brother. So we'll see who's able to get the best of this exchange here. Hydra so far just playing that long-range game, but Min-Min loves that too, as long as she's able to get a little bit closer than that max distance of explosive flame or auto reticle.
Right, and this is the interesting thing that we're seeing from Hydra. We're seeing a lot of short hops that just immediately fast fall. We don't want to be on the same horizontal plane as Min-Min. We either want to be directly above her or diagonal to her, because those are the areas where she has a little bit more difficulty finding hard punishes.
Yep, definitely want to come in at the 45 if possible. Palutena, really not the best equipped character for that, but far from the worst as well. And Min-Min, of course, she can switch over to the Ram and cover that angle, right? She gets a free anti-air as a result. But so far, it doesn't look like Linus is very keen to switch over to that. He wants the power.
Well, he's got the megawatt in hand because we are seeing a Palutena at 104%. So I think even like towards the blast zones, a megawatt Nair will start KOing. And Linus is probably looking at that because, again, we talked about it. There's another player waiting in the wings for the side of MSU. If Linus finds 1, even 2 KOs, they're in golden shape.
Wow, so good at dancing around the explosive flames. And of course, as I say that, Linus getting clipped by 1, losing his first stock as a result, but this is still super close. 104 on Hydra, he could go out to any megawatt hit. Honestly, even the Dragon Arm is gonna be enough to finish him off from the corner.
Megawatt coming out again, but does manage to quickly get off ledge and at the wrong timing as well. But then it is the 2-frame. The 2-frame comes through, so that is going to even us up, at least in the game, if not the overall stock count. Quick back air, and that could have been a stolen stock, but staying calm, Hydra is able to make it back.
Min Min, so potent when your opponent is off the stage, to say the least. Oh, I love the parry there on the neutral air, but unable to get a punish. Hydra starting to struggle here. When Min Min has a lead against her opponent, it is so difficult to crack through that armor.
Looking to find that win in neutral that you were talking about, crack through the armor, but Hydra just has been unable to find any defining hit. Tries to get into it there, looking for the combo into the dare, but no dice quite yet. Ooh, lots of damage here off stage and no jump as well. How is he going to get back? Just a quick roll.
Love Hydra stringing those projectiles together there. The explosive flame into the auto reticle. Okay, a ledge trap on the other side. He's taking Linus coast to coast here.
Has to find a way off the ledge here as well. It is just going to be the dash attack out of the corner. I was expecting that to lose out to Bear, to be completely honest. We've seen Bear clank through some crazy moves in the past.
Oh, ledge cancel into the down air. Okay, Hydra still saying he's got some fight left in him. Linus gonna re-grab the ledge, but no punish from Hydra there.
Third time in a row as well that Linus has found his way off of the ledge with just a neutral get-up dash attack, and as a result, regains stage control, sends Hydra towards the corner, and then immediately finds the stock. This could mean that we're not even going to see MSU's anchor.
Yeah, it might not
Double
have to
parry,
happen. Wow.
okay!
That was excellent timing right there. Okay, rapid jab getting shut down, and now Hydra has a fighting chance here. Min Min with a stock lead, absolutely terrifying, but he cut that off nice and early.
Took off the regular lead as well with a quick nair plane off the top platform. That's going to be a back throw and a Min Min into the explosive flame. How do you get back to stage with no jump? It's just going to be the quick up B and then another jump off the ledge.
Oh, excellent bait there. Teasing that empty short hop, saying, hey, come and swing on me on the way down. I'm not expecting it. I'm not ready. JK, back up. Big forward smash to punish that landing. And we're going to see Hydra push MSU to their last player. Of course, it's still 3 stocks to 1, though. MSU remains the favorite to take this, but Hydra could just play out of his mind and clutch up.
And Hydra definitely did play out of his mind throughout the course of that game, as we're going to see here in the Barbasol replays. Did such a good job of baiting out aggressive options, because Min Min, she's at her strongest when you're not being aggressive and she's not being aggressive. She wants to keep you at that long distance so that she can play her favorite game, and that's keep away. When you're not playing the keep away game as Min Min, you're vulnerable. You're strong, but you're vulnerable, and we saw it right there when the aggressive option was baited out by Hydra. Right here, the short hop, and then, or not short hop, excuse me, just the shield dash back. Wanted him to land on top of his shield and just gotcha.
Yeah, that was my bad. I thought he did short hop when I was recounting that before, but either way, guys, it all comes down to this, our first Smash Brothers match of the stream for the day. Akoru and Hydra, 2 very talented players. I mean, we keep saying it, but for these teams, it's going to continue to be true. I believe this is actually the 4 and 5 seed going at it, by the way.
This is the second round of the winner's bracket here in our 16-team bracket. So competition's already gotten pretty hot, and it's only going to get spicier from here. If this is like our winner's quarters, just imagine how this is going to look at the end of today and at the beginning of tomorrow.
Yeah, I think all of the top 5 teams are pretty serious here. Of course, number 1 being University of Central Florida. They've got Jake, they've got Javi on Earth.
I'm pretty sure our first seed is Bay State.
Yeah,
University of Central
right.
Florida is second, which they're both so strong that that's a very easy mix-up to make.
Right, and Bay State having Sonics and Nexus at their disposal.
I don't even think Nexus is a starter. That's how strong they are. I think they were playing like Anarchy, Tony Pajamas, and Sonics earlier today.
That is actually pretty insane, man. And guys, if you're not familiar with the level of talent in collegiate Smash Brothers, hey, there's a lot of history to dig through. Ever since Mad Todd Zeb started the Melee games way back in the day, there have been some real killers to come out of it.
We're seeing the Joker come through as the final choice from MSU. An interesting choice, because I would have liked to see the Pyra and Mithra, just specifically because Pyra can destroy a stock early if you find the right read, but with only 1 stock to play against, that's a lot of Arsens.
Exactly, yeah, you're fighting minimum 3 Arsens here. I mean, maybe you could cut off a stock early, get a spike or something, but Okoru already looking super confident here.
Yeah, look, you even saw right there, Okoru is immediately going for that drag down fair into the up tilt, or the up air drag down down smash. Like, he's looking to close this out now. He wants this to be the shortest possible game.
To think that it all could have ended right there, the missed DI on the down throw in the corner. Unfortunately for Okoru, back air just not strong enough to finish the job. But either way, even if he keeps pace like this, 117% per stock, there's no way the Hydra makes it out of this alive. Wow, okay, buffering the get-up attack to prevent the ledge trump.
The game's been going on for less than a minute so far, and Okoru has exerted so much pressure onto Hydra, and Hydra is feeling that pressure because only 1 stock. You've got to be careful. You can't make any mistakes, but in the thought process of I can't make mistakes, that pressure gets to you. Hydra, though, is going to be able to catch Okoru trying to hold Rebel's guard there off stage with the double explosive flame. So that's 1 more stock gone. MSU down to 2.
I love the counterplay to the counterplay there, right? You know that Palutena is going to throw out explosive flame. Tank that with Rebel's guard, turn it into an Arsene. But, of course, Hydra knew that Okoru would do that as well, so he threw another one.
Speaking of turning things into Arsene, though, here he comes. This might be it. Be careful.
Hydra, if you play out of your mind, if you play absolutely perfectly, this is doable. But unfortunately, yep, that's going to do it. The forward tilt catching the ledge dump right there, and MSU is going to move on into the semifinals on the winner side of the bracket.
And we're definitely going to see it again in a second in the Barbasol instant replay, but I just need to talk about how smart that was throughout just even the short game. Joker has so many options to punish on ledge. You usually don't see too many of them. Most players favor 1 or 2 of them, but there was showing every option except F-tilt. Every time they were on the ledge, they were like, oh, let me back air, let me jump fair, let me do something else. But at the very end, they were ready. They pulled it out. They got the... I just saw that. I didn't realize they were recording us as well, but they just pulled out the F-tilt at the very last second when it was least expected, and as a result, took the crew battle.
Yeah, Joker's ledge trapping, some of the best in the game. You could say that about Palutena as well, but of course, when you're playing from behind like that, the opportunity is not going to arise as frequently, right? We saw just the amount of Arsene presence in that match, enough to completely shut it down. Guys, checking out these replays, you can see how hard fought this battle was for NJCU particularly. They started off getting 3 stocked in the first match, right?
Yeah, shoutouts to Lucy as well. We have to talk about that coming out of this match. 6 stocks?
Yeah.
That is not normal.
Very
that is
close
not
to
normal.
7
yeah.
as well. We saw some great DI on that up air from Hydra on Yoshi's story that kept him alive, and unfortunately just had to lose that 2nd stock, right? We could have seen a much different fight against Okoru had Hydra had 2 stocks to work with, but of course not out of it yet. NJCU, they're going to be in the losers bracket until somebody manages to take them out from there. So they could still climb their way to first place here. There is, of course, a double elimination bracket, meaning that if you lose once, it's not over.
It's definitely going to be interesting to see how that lower bracket pans out. We'll be keeping an eye on it throughout the day. But we've got more upper bracket matches for you later. But before that, we're going to throw it over to our friends up top at the desk. So we'll see you in a bit.
Thanks so much. That was an excellent first match of the day. Really, really fun to watch. The casters were saying that Lucy was having everyone caught in the blender during those first few rounds. Is that what you would say, Fawn?
Yeah, that is definitely what I would say. Yeah, he was getting Pringles opened up, right? just like a can of Pringles. It was a lot of situations where he was just sort of getting caught in like the situation of like snowballing, right? Like it's typically a term that's coined in a lot of other genres of games, but that's exactly how I would describe that match right there. I mean, like in the very beginning, you have a character like Rob that's so good at snowballing his lead. It's so hard already to fight him, and yet when you have lesser stocks than him, it makes it even more of a detriment, right? Because very few slip-ups can lead to Rob in winning, right? And so that's something that you have to keep in mind when you're playing against that character, which is why he took as many stocks as he did. Obviously, credits to the players as well for being able to make sure you're utilizing all those tools properly, because it's never easy for that to be the case.
You also were telling us a lot during round 4 about the character choices that were being made.
Oh, yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that.
So one of the biggest things during those rounds was character choices, especially in a crew battle. That's something it is you don't typically see in your match, because typically how fighting game rules are is once you win the game, once you win the match, you keep the character it is that you're on.
Right.
In a crew battle situation, whoever is the person that won could end up being counterpicked. And that's like a big thing, right? Is that in crew battles, there is like a little bit of a meta, which is what the casters were saying. There is a meta that you have to keep in mind when you're dealing with these crew battles. And so character picks are just as important during the second match as they are in the first when you're first leading it, right? And so that's something that we saw like as the match went on, especially when Hydra was playing. You saw Palutena go up against Joker, go up against Min, go up against Rob. And a lot of those, Rob and Min are definitely a hard matchup for her to be able to win in my book. So that's sort of like, it's interesting to see them go Min second, because that's why you have to have so many character picks. You have to be able to counterpick whoever it is you're going up against.
Well, I think that's awesome because you talk about the snowball side of things where it's okay, you can get out of hand fast. I think the biggest thing I saw to Lucy was a level of comfort. It didn't feel like there was a nerves or anything like that compared to like Zamu, who was a little bit telegraphed, like, okay, I've got this Samus ball of energy ready to shoot, and he's like, that's all he's going to do. He's not going to go for anything else. So I think that got punished a little bit, but then primarily you talk about that Min pick, it counters the whole like concept of snowball in itself. Like you're taking this, you just 6-stock, like you're feeling good, and then all of a sudden you get back to the point where it's like, well, okay, we can counterpick this other person before it runs away with it. So Min can also like tunnel them into a circumstance where they can be punished. So it's why I like crew battles so much. I love how much depth there is, not just in like the gameplay itself and the footsies and the wave dashing and all that kind of stuff, but also just in the meta of picking people as well. There's so much depth to FGC that I wish I knew better, but I love it. It's so awesome. We got so much more.
Always say.
From an audience perspective, this is exactly the kind of match that we want, right? Where it's back and forth. We get all 5 rounds. We don't know who's going to take it at the end. Do you feel like the outcome of this match was as you all predicted?
I mean, I said I didn't have any favorites, so we didn't have to do predictions, and now you're putting that voodoo on me, and I don't know how I feel about it.
Because we got to the, Lucy so dominant in the first 3 rounds, and then Hydra so dominant in the last 3 rounds. Was it over once Lucy was eliminated, do you think?
I don't know. No, I mean, you look at the other side, you have Hydra, right, for New Jersey City. We talked about that coming in, saying, hey, Hydra's one of those top players that are at this event for Smash. You got to look out for them. Great anchor. And New Jersey City University was one of the 2 underdog picks that I chose. And they put up a fight against the doubles champions in Lucy and Linus. And then we talked about those 2 also being in the top players list. And there's only 5 in that top list we gave, and there was 3 of them. So that was a great match to start today's broadcast off with, and we got a little bit of everything, right? We saw a dominant lead being created by Michigan State, and like they took a lead. Hydra had to come in, the sweat on the brows. I got to take 7 stocks. They took 5 of them, so they did a great job. We get a little bit of that comeback taste, so we got a little bit of everything in that first matchup.
In collegiate esports, sometimes it can be a little bit different when you look at the meta, because when we come into a professional esports venue, right, we have a lot of preconceived notions about who's going to play what, how they're going to do that. There's a little bit more of a wild card in the meta here, where it's like, I don't know who this person's going to bring, I don't know how they're going to use it. What do you think, as an audience member, you would say to the people watching about like what to look for in a collegiate event versus what they may be used to watching in a pro event?
I think the best thing is to keep an open mind. Like, we're obviously going to emphasize the favorites, the top tier, all that kind of stuff, but I don't think it's ever, like, unless you, like, Rocket League, I will say, is the mainstay, like, it does get one-sided sometimes, and I fear for some of the people going up against some of these top tier rosters. But for the most part, like, there's always that chance of comeback. I think you keep an open mind and, like, don't just, like, oh, okay, the series is over, and you get up and walk away and go get food and stuff. If you're hungry, get food by any means. But if like, you're sitting and watching a match, like, don't count anybody out. We just saw an exact example of that. Hey, you're up by 5. You're doing good. Things are fine. Oh, just okay. They bring it back within 2. So I think it's kind of buckle up and be ready for some high-profile moments and potentially some big upsets. I think that's the #1 thing in collegiate. I've seen upsets so many times that I'm just like, why is my bracket all messed up already? Like, we just started. So I'm looking forward to it.
Well, we may see more of those upsets very soon. We're going to take a quick break from the CECC pre-show sponsored by Barbasol. And when we come back, we're going to have more Super Smash Bros. Ultimate for you, so don't go